So hello, so you are first spectator today. Which country are you from? Is it everything okay with sound and with video? Okay, so it was request yesterday to consider game between Harry Nelson Pillsbury and Emmanuel Lasker, even two games in same position, so I will do it today. So d4, d5, c4, e6, knight c3, knight f6. Knight f3. Okay, if white wants to play Carlsbad variation, c takes d5, it's logical line. Or, of course, black can choose d5, it's another theoretical line. Knight f3 takes, bishop d4, bishop d2 takes castle. Knight f3, c5. Now the most popular move is c takes d5 and black has choice. C takes d4 is possible, modern line. For example, this. Knight g5, bishop e6, knight e6, f takes e6 is very popular line now, or same with knight c6 firstly, bishop e6. So possible knight considered already, or it takes modern. Looks like simple idea if bishop g5 black, and if e3 black has c4, with idea to prepare knight bd7, bishop b4, queen a5, at least play these lines with black, I mean, so it's not so simple. In theory, this is playable by bishop g5, defense, or modern line, double variation, bishop c5, knight. Idea if knight takes d5, black has bishop e6. Now, if knight takes b6, this b6 with takes and knight e5 is possible. Black has contraplay. Okay, black has okay. So for today, I cannot consider all possible lines. Bishop e5 was played in two games between Pillsbury and Lasker. Games played in 1898, which Lasker won in brilliant style. The second game was in 1904, which Harrison Pillsbury won. So, yes, okay. So we will continue. So c takes d4 looks like the most logical line now. Maybe d takes c4 is possible as well. D takes c4 if e3 just play this position with isolated pawn. It's also possible. Also, same position can appear from Caro-Kann. I mean, panel attack. I mean, e4, c6, d4, d5, takes, c4, knight f6, knight c3, knight c6, bishop g5, e6, knight f3, takes. We have same position. If black doesn't take on c4, if black plays bishop e7, white has promising idea to play c5 and then bishop b5 with initiating. So d takes c4 is possible. E4 may be possible as well, but after e4, c takes d4, and black is prepared to play bishop c5 after knight takes d4. So probably e3 is the strongest way. Knight takes d4, bishop c5 looks like playable for black. So c takes d4, and now if knight takes d4, e5 is strong idea for black. It's well-known trap. So if this, a6 is coming, and knight takes d5, lost immediately, because after a takes b5, knight takes f6, queen takes f6, black is winning. Very old and famous trap. So queen a4 is the best, but anyway, black is very good here. For example, this is possible. Knight e4, and black has very strong initiate. So knight takes d4 is not line which recommended by theory. Okay, after e5 white can play knight c2, but anyway after d4, knight d5, bishop e6, black has very pleasant position. So queen takes d4 played Harry Nelson Pillsbury, knight c6. And now difference, so probably improvement. So in first game between same opponents, he played queen h4 immediately. Lasker played bishop e7, also d takes c4 looks like logical alternative in this position. Probably e3 is the best again. And black has many possibilities, even possible to consider. Something with b5 even possible. I'm not sure this is really good or not. Knight takes b5, however. If rook b8, queen takes c4. Okay, so bishop e7 is possible, bishop takes c4, something like castle, just normal position. Now probably black can play h6. I'm not sure that attack with bishop h6 is so strong. Also, it's possible to consider this. No, sorry. What is this? Big question, how dangerous is white attack? Maybe not so dangerous, because black has idea queen a5. Not okay, so white has some compensation. Probably bishop b5, it's possible to consider, not allow queen h5 or queen f5. So white has some compensation. Okay, but so d takes c4 was possible, but Lasker played bishop e7, long castle. Of course, e3 very natural alternative, and now after castle, probably white can consider such ideas. No, but bishop d3, d takes c4, I'm afraid that good, because bishop takes h7 doesn't work, and if bishop f6, he takes d3. So bishop e7 is well protected, and white should lose tempo. So probably bishop d3 is not the best. So probably the best is something like rook d1 or long castle. Okay, so he played long castle. Queen a5 played Lasker. Probably idea to avoid e4, because if castle e4 is possible, it's question how strong it is. However, h6, it's complications. So it remember me this line in Scandinavian defense. I mean, e4, d5, he takes d5. Sorry, e4, knight c6 firstly, to provoke knight f3, and now d5, e takes d5, queen takes d5, knight c3, queen h5. For example, g4, bishop e2, bishop g4, castle, castle, h3, knight f6. This line. So idea, if h takes g4, knight takes g4, and quite strong threats here. Some players likes to play this line, especially trying to remember this theory. Okay, so knight f3. So it looks like Lasker effect attack, and he is not hurry with castle. So for example, if castle, white can so any problem with stream? And again, if h6, bishop takes h6 is coming. So this is idea of white. If knight e4, bishop g5 is possible. So if g takes h6, queen takes h6, and now it's dangerous because knight g5 is coming. But big question if white has more than draw. For example, if black just plays d4 with idea queen h5. If knight e4, black can just take on e4 and play bishop f5. If knight g5, black can just take on c3, and probably maximum what can do white here is draw after bishop h7. So looks like draw by perpetual check. Because black has also threats, I don't see how white can improve his attack. Okay, I don't know exactly how strong was Pillsbury. I'm not so well familiar with his games, but okay, we can do it. We can try to understand. So today is my first attempt, because before I didn't comment any games of Harry Nelson Pillsbury. Bishop d7, king b1. h6, finally c takes d5, e takes d5, and now again bishop d3 looks like a very logical move. I don't know. But the problem is that now black can play on castle. This is different story. So after short castle, white can rook g8 may be possible as well, but long castle it's more natural. So quite a deep idea. So king b1, h6. So very original d7, and Lasker is preparing h6 and long castle, and white has no his attack. I'm not sure that king b1 is the best what white can do, but the question what is the best, because if c takes d5, e takes d5, I'm considering b5, but anyway h6. So knight takes d5, knight takes d5, rook takes d5, queen takes a2 probably. But well, it's complicated. This is maybe this. If queen takes a2, my idea is rook takes d7 to consider and to see what is this. Yeah, for me somehow. Okay, black simply, and after knight takes g5, just play castle. So white also has a problem with his king here. So probably black is just good here. But bishop takes c6, or bishop takes c6 is strong. If queen takes a2, rook takes d7. Okay, so maybe a positional idea to play queen a4 in some variation, or just take on c6 and then knight e5. It's also possible to consider, but h6 principal reaction, knight takes d5, if it works, of course, because black has his contraplay, but okay, this. If queen takes a2, rook takes d7 is my idea. I don't know, something like this, check. White has some attack. How strong is attack is not totally clear, but at least black is playing without castle, so probably king c7 is corrected, but what is this, queen f4, something like this. Computer suggests bishop takes c6. In which moment bishop takes c6? What is the suggestion? But if knight e5, I afraid on castle somehow. So, for example, this long castle, and white has problem with their pieces. So, what suggests computer here? Knight e5, rook d8. But why rook d8? Why not castle? Maybe just take and queen f4, something like this. Was in Sofia. Logical suggestion, because knight takes f7 is threat somehow. Okay. Okay, so we see quite interesting plan. Choose Lasker, so he is not hurry with castle. This idea, I mean, short castle. Of course, long castle wasn't necessary, so white could play e3, and if now queen a5, long castle for white is not forced, so white has alternatives. I don't know what exactly is the best after queen a5. Evet, Türkçe konuşabiliyorum. Ama çok pratik yok. Bu sebeple biraz unuttum Türk dili. Maalesef. Okay, now c takes d5 is possible to consider, but okay, position is tricky, for example. What is this? Maybe black is very good here. So after queen a5, maybe something else, maybe rook c1, for example. Okay, but this is another game, so after castle, queen a5, bishop d7 he played. So Pillsbury played king b1. Okay, king b1, it's not so concrete move. Maybe more logical to take. Okay, take with knight, I think it's acceptable for white. This kind of position now takes. Now takes d5. Probably now reasonable try is knight d4 or knight d2. The same idea to play knight b3. So these moves. Okay, for example, because after knight d4, black can consider idea to take on d4. So probably this, and next move knight b3. And then to do something active. But okay, for example, h6, anyway, knight b3, queen b6. If this, black probably has a good compensation for a pawn after bishop e6. Rook c8, okay, rook c8, knight b3, anyway, was my idea. Knight b3, if queen somewhere, king b1. So king b1, it's not concrete move, and now he played h6. So takes, knight d4, only now castle, because now bishop takes h6 is not so dangerous. Black has many ideas, even knight e4 is possible. Or after g takes h6, queen takes h6, white knight is very far from g5 square, so white has no real attack. So bishop takes f6, and now it's obvious that black has excellent position because his bishop f6 is very strong. Only question how to play this position. Probably what Lasker play wasn't the best, so he took on d4. Looks like normal move, but after e takes d4, bishop e6 maybe not the best because after bishop e6, white has active play with f4, f5. Okay, it's unclear, but black can just avoid this move, for example. Nothing wrong with this move. Knight takes d5 possible, but at least black can play this. And now it's possible to take with rook. It's aggressive try. Queen takes d5, it's drawish. So queen takes d5 is draw. If black is trying to play for win, possible to take with rook. Queen e4, rook d8 to play this position. So black wants to take on d4, and okay, white also has his contraplay. For example, this. If rook takes, queen e8 check is possible, and bishop takes f7. Also, this is not the end of variation, for example. Maybe white has something more pleasant, bishop d3. If rook takes d3, queen e4 check. So it doesn't work. So better to take with bishop, with idea to prepare queen b6. So rook takes d4 is mistake. But bishop takes d4 looks like playable move because queen b6 is coming. If queen takes b7, queen f5, of course. So he played bishop e6, f4 played Pillsbury. He's trying to play f5, but okay, f5 it's not special threat for black. Black has some active possibilities. Even this idea was possible to consider. Queen takes h6, and now queen b6. Now black wants to take on d4. And what to do for white? If knight a4, queen b4 is unpleasant. So how to defend d4 pawn? Okay, knight e2 looks like very ugly, cannot be good move. And important that after bishop d3, bishop takes d4 is coming. After bishop g6, f takes g6, and if rook takes d4, black has intermediate check. If and then only then queen takes d4. Queen takes g6 check. Firstly, black has bishop g7 with red bishop f5, but probably knight a4 now is more precise. And bishop g6 on next move. So this looks like black is in trouble. So not okay. So rook a d8 was very safe line if black wants to draw. They are taking with queen. Lasker played bishop e6. Okay, bishop c6 was possible as well. Defend pawn by this way. Now bishop d3 it's doesn't work because pawn d4 is hanging, and black is ready for rook e8, rook e7. So queen f5 is possible to consider this idea to prepare bishop d3. But okay, even this may be not so clear. After bishop d3, bishop takes d4. I'm not sure that white has really strong attack. For example, if check, king f8, rook e1. g6. Or rook takes e1. Okay, rook takes e1 firstly, it's mistake because queen h8. Intermediate check and then take with check, and white is taking the rook. So g6 is forced. But position is unclear. Black wants to play bishop g7. So bishop takes g6, bishop g7. And I like black position because bishop is hanging. What to do? Bishop h5 d4. So if other moves, also rook takes e1 d4. For example, bishop somewhere, rook takes, and d4 is coming, and black is winning the piece. So bishop c6, quite solid move. Of course, bishop c4, g6, queen f3, it's interesting motif, but okay, after bishop c4, black can just play rook d8, of course. Or g6, queen f3, and now bishop takes d4, looks like interesting. Computer suggests rook e3, in which moment? Sorry. Here rook e3. Here rook is... if d4, rook takes d4. This, you mean? Creative computer. Maybe he is right. If d4, rook takes d4. Okay, maybe. But okay, sorry. If d4, rook takes d4. If, sorry, rook takes d4. If I play queen g5 now, what is idea of computer? Because from human reason, computer always right, okay, for sure, but pieces are hanging. Ah, if d4, bishop takes f7. Wow, what is this? I don't understand anything. Sorry. So if king takes f7, rook takes d4 now, or what? So this, yeah. And what? Okay, queen g5, for example. That's the line. Okay, so it's very complicated. Okay, so it's something complete. I don't know what is this. So what to play? Rook g3, rook e1, king c2, something like this. Maybe. If rook h8, probably rook f4 check. Okay. Okay, so this is complicated and not forced. So queen f5 is a possible move, but if black doesn't want mm, calculate such a complicated variation, they can simply play queen d8 and to prepare g6 and continue to play this position. G6, bishop g7, black has solid position. Okay, so bishop e6 played Lasker. There are several alternatives as I explained it. I'm thinking also from here. So black is hurried to d4 because if now rook d8, knight b3 can be unpleasant. Also, if this knight takes d5. But is it true? Because I'm considering this. Probably white is just losing. White is just losing here. So it doesn't work. So probably rook a d8 was a very good idea for black. Title Tuesday. Okay, today is okay, next Tuesday. Okay, probably I will try today. So probably it was idea rook a d8 to play because now if knight takes d5, I can take with bishop. What is this? If bishop e6, knight e7, white has. That's a problem, but okay, I can just play this. To prepare bishop e6 and to prevent knight e7. If, for example, bishop c4, bishop e6. If rook e1, black has bishop f5 check. But this is doesn't, and knight f6 is coming. So finally, white wins. Probably. Why I'm not totally sure, because king f8 I'm considering. Of course, if g takes f6, queen g6, this white wins probably, or just perpetual check. But king f8, what is this? Knight a7 check, king e7. Queen takes f7 check, king d6. Probably suddenly black is winning. I don't know who is winning here, because black has exchange up, and the white has knight on h7. So if there is nothing very concrete for white, probably just black win here. Bishop takes d4, immediately knight e7 check. Yes, it's a good idea. I missed this. Okay, but I can propose another idea. So I can propose this, another rook. If knight b3, I have this bishop g4, so it looks like very good for black. Maybe winning for black. At least I don't see good defense for white. So it doesn't work for white. So, and if this, my idea is to take and just play king f8. Sorry, with king on f8, with this rook I can play immediately bishop e6, because now king f8, and white has a big problem with his knight. Okay, so this probably white is not losing. Before is only move, but only black can pretend for advantage, at least after the simple this. Okay, so also after rook a d8, knight takes d5, bishop takes d4, e takes d4, black can play probably this to prepare bishop e6. But knight e7 is a refutation. Sorry. So if play is rook d8, it's better to choose this rook to have e7, to have f8 square for the knight. So if knight takes d5, takes, and king f8, and now it's nice for, or bishop, or even bishop e6, simple as I explained. Okay, after b4, probably black has something stronger than king takes e7. I don't know. Maybe king takes e7 is the best, but maybe not. But if knight c4, white at least can take, and knight f5. So probably this is the strongest way for black, and rook d5. But okay, a6. If b takes a6, bishop c4 looks like draw somehow. King f8 also possible to prepare bishop e6, and not so comfortable to defend for white. Because knight f4 lost immediately, queen takes h5 and bishop g4, so bishop e6 is prepared. So white has problem. So rook fd8 was interesting. Also, black prepared f8 square for his king in some variation, and his plan to take on d4, play rook c8. Okay, but Lasker took on d4. It's natural, but not necessary. Bishop e6, possible. Rook c. Okay, again, not clear. So g6 is a concrete idea, but maybe it doesn't work. Also, black can try e line for contraplane. For example, rook e8, f5, bishop d7, queen f3. So pawn is attacked. Bishop c6, for example. G4. Now queen b4 or queen b6. For example, queen b6. Knight takes d5 hardly good because I will take somewhere. After knight takes d5, I can consider even move some rook fc8. In which moment? Rook fc8. Okay, after knight d5, at least I can take on d5 and rook d8. So white plan is to play h4 g5, but his pawn d4 is hanging now. If, for example, queen f2 try to defend, black has bishop g5. This idea bishop e3, and white has no time to start attack. But probably rook d3 is possible, however, to prepare h4 or to prepare bishop g2 or rook fc. So it was possible, but not so clear. Okay, I'm not sure that knight takes d5 it's so big threat, however, because black has all pieces very active. Well, for example, rook ac8 also possible. If knight takes d5, even bishop takes d4, I afraid can be strong. For example, I will show simple line this. Sorry, rook e1. Okay, bishop takes f5 is enough for me. Because if bishop d3, rook e1. Пародіює, ну, значить, подобається йому. Okay, but Lasker played rook c8, f5. Now, okay, he took on c3. Again, bishop d7 was possible, but after bishop d7, queen f3. Again, same question. If knight takes d5 is a real threat, but okay, white also has plan g4 and h4 and h5, something like this. Of course, black has strong contraplay. Even rook takes c3, it's possible now. But now white can take with queen. So Lasker took with rook. F takes e6, b takes c3 is possible, but queen takes c3, f takes e6, queen b4 check. It's unpleasant somehow for white. At least many checks. Okay, maybe it's no mate. I don't know. For example, this king d3. I don't know if black is winning here. It's maybe not so easy. It's easy because queen takes d4, rook c2, and it must be mate. But yes, this is mate. So rook c2 check. So white cannot go. So f takes e6 and rook a3 he played. Of course, it's very beautiful. Only question how it is. And surely black has choice. Rook c6 was possible, but rook a3. b6, bishop b5, good defense. Not allow take with d4 with check. So check, king a4. White defended. If queen c4, probably queen g4 was planned. At least I don't see alternatives. The question, what is the position in this case? For example, this natural move, queen g4, just rook c7. So black wants at least to have perpetual check. But okay, queen e6 check, and then probably queen e3 is possible. So a lot of space for calculation. But okay, so rook c7 he played immediately. It's strange moment, rook c4, and only after rook h d1, rook c3. Very strange. Because if he wants to play rook c3, more natural to play immediately rook c3, because rook obviously better on d1 than on h1. Or probably he afraid queen d1, difficult to believe. This is very deep, so I cannot imagine myself playing rook c4 and after rook d1, rook c3. So because it's too complicated for me. So if I want rook on c3, I would play immediately rook c3. Or something else. Something else. Queen a5, for example, is possible. Queen a5 idea is if rook d1, just take perpetual check. Time travel. And it is black who must think about drawing this position. So white is playing without any risk. If rook takes a3, okay, rook c2 is possible, or rook c1 is possible. So white has several good possibilities. Actually, threats of black are not so strong. But suddenly king b2, probably he just missed rook a3, and okay, now it's dangerous somehow, because if king b1, bishop takes d4 is coming. So So this is mate. So king b2 is mistake. But objectively, after king b1, white has a good position. So okay, it were such a game, but we will consider another game. So bishop takes f6 started. After 6 years. So queen h4. Firstly played Pillsbury. Now he took on f6. G takes f6 is forced because knight takes d4 is obviously not good. So after knight c2, black will lost his knight. After knight f3, they will lost the pawn. d5 without sufficient compensation. C takes d5 or even long castle. So g takes f6 is correct. Queen h4, d takes c4 logical. Rook d1. So white cannot castle. Bishop is d7 natural move. Queen a5 was possible to consider, but it's quite sharp. So I don't know if it's strong or not. Rook g8. This idea bishop g7. Queen f4 is possible, for example. But okay, bishop d7 is very natural move. White played a3 and now knight e5. It's possible, but surely not only move. So black has a big choice. So for modern chess, the most typical looks like f5 and bishop g7 to prepare castle. White has good pawn structure, but black has two active bishops and good contraplays. Queen b6 possible in some moment, or rook c8 is possible in some moment. Another try is b5. So, remember theoretical line. I will try to remember this. So knight f6, knight f3, knight bd7, bishop f4. Something like this. e3, b5, like this. Now knight d2 is very complicated line, but if knight c3, knight d5, a3, knight takes c3, queen d2, knight d5, takes. It's another of popular position of modern theory. So black can consider to play b5. And knight takes b5, rook b8. And if bishop takes c4, of course, rook takes b5 is strong. Queen a5 check and takes the bishop. Maybe it's not the end of variation, but looks good enough for black. For example, rook d2, queen takes b5, queen takes f6, rook g8. And if rook d7, king d7, queen takes f7, knight e7. What is this? Now white has choice. Queen takes e6 is possible to consider, or knight d4 is possible to consider. So still complicated. Probably queen takes e6 is the best, because white will have many pawns. Okay, so after bishop takes c4, probably black can play something else. But what? If queen a5, rook d2, bishop b4, queen takes f6 is possible. But there is a question if bishop takes f6. If castle, even knight g8. G8 maybe castle. Possible, but it requires calculation. Also here queen a5. Queen a5 is possible. Consider knight c3. Rook b8. But anyway, queen takes f6 and rook takes d7. It has this kind of contraplay. And then bishop takes c4. So the most solid and probably the strongest was f5, queen takes c4, bishop g7. Even bishop g7 immediately is totally possible. After bishop takes c4, f5 now. Totally playable, but computers suggest rook e7 instead of rook c7. In which variation? Probably in previous game, you mean? Rook e7 instead of rook c7. Where was question? So probably in previous game. Okay, I can come back if you want to the previous game. So somewhere here. So instead of rook a3, okay, black has normal positions. They can go with rook to. Why not? But okay, I can try bishop d3. If bishop takes d4, rook f1, something like this. Black king is quite weak, so positionally I don't like this idea. But okay, he played concrete line. Rook e7. Probably here rook e7. Aha. It's logical because rook goes to e4 and white will not have check from e8 in some moments. So it's interesting idea. So as somebody explained it today, computer is always right. Okay, maybe. Interesting. Rook f1 is not possible because bishop takes d4 check. So if rook d2, probably rook e4. If this, queen c4. Not so easy. Not so easy. Just impossible to defend d4 pawn and this is bad news for white. So probably rook e7 was really strong. Or maybe even start with queen c4, because after rook e4, white can consider rook c1. This idea, rook c8 check, to create some threats. So probably after rook d2, queen c4 is more precise. Not allow rook c1. Was this position? But in that case, why not immediately queen c4? There is logical question. Really, why not? What is wrong with immediately queen c4? Why computer Don't suggest queen c4 immediately, and only after queen g4, now rook e7. It's possible to prepare rook e4. Why not? So pawn is attacked. Torre e4, mejor torre e2. Ah, torre e2. Mejor. Aha, okay. But okay, what is evaluation? So this is drawish somehow. Or black has winning chances. So looks like more close to draw. For human reason, for computer, okay, computer probably sees some unusual tactics, but I don't see it. For me, it looks like just a draw. Okay, maybe black has some practical chances. Queen e5, rook d1, king f7, then king e6, but objectively it must be draw somehow, something like this. But okay, so this is computer, but why not queen c4? So very natural. Queen c4. I'm attacking pawn d4. So queen g4 is only the... Okay, maybe white can just give this pawn, but okay, it's unpleasant. Just give d4 pawn. So if queen h3, bishop takes d4, and rook f2 is coming. So looks like queen g4 is forced. But after queen g4, I can play now rook e7, and it looks like pretty unpleasant. I don't know why, but it's the same idea, but it's more to have six square. Probably I guess. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. От дивися, тут було офлайн, а потім Іванчук час і злив, але ніхто мені не відповідає. А ну, от я зайшов. Так, і що тепер? Ні, тут щось cancel, там, primaries, share screen. Cancel. Так, що далі? Що? Ну, ніхто не відповідає. От я в дошці. Я кажу hello, can somebody hear? Ми таке враження, що... Хоча пише, що я live. А, Вже хтось відповів. Hello. So everything, yes. So probably it was correct combination. Yes, so queen c4, but he mistaken with rook c7, so rook c7 wasn't the best. Is it everything okay now with voice and with video? Good. So let's come. So very nice. A3. Yes, so it was correct attack, but he spoiled only with rook c7. Rook c7, rook d2, white can defend successfully. Okay, let's come back to the second game. So here, instead of king b1, c takes d5 and bishop b5 was better. It's my conclusion. So, but let's come back. So here I explained it. b5 possibility was possible. So quite spicy position. e3 immediately. Yes, e3 immediately was possible. Maybe even more precise than rook d1. It's not obvious. Anyway, black can play f5, of course, because endgame is harmless. King will go to e7. If queen takes c4, bishop g7 is comfortable game. But now, if rook d1, black can consider queen b6 instead of bishop d7. But bishop d7 is also fine. Okay, so everything is okay with my stream. I hope. Hello? Can somebody hear me? Okay, so knight e5. Knight e5, it's possible, but I don't know how this move in spirit of position. Because black is not developing the pieces, but okay, it's possible. So knight took on e5. Bishop takes c4 was possible as well. Of course, just develop pieces with quite unclear game. For example, black can take and probably to play queen b6. Rook takes d7, probably. It's possible, but I'm not sure how it is strong or not. It's possible like idea, for example, bishop d6, queen h4, king e7, knight e4, queen takes b2, takes, queen f4 check, something like this. I'm not sure that this is totally correct, but it's like idea can be considered. So bishop takes c4 was very logical developing move. If, for example, rook c8 immediately, white can play queen f4, for example, or queen d4 after bishop c5, queen f4. So it's totally possible. So I like bishop takes c4 because it's idea of bishop takes c4 is the quickest developing of pieces. So two bishops, okay, it's important factor, but when white is developed, they have initiative. Okay, probably black can defend somehow better. For example, bishop e7, rook e1, king e8, and then prepare king e8. So objective is not enough compensate exchange. Queen b6 is possible, but okay. Anyway, white can just castle. If rook c8, queen f4. Obviously, black cannot play e5 because knight takes e5. If bishop e7, knight e4 is coming. So with such ideas, and then knight d6 check is unpleasant. So I like bishop takes c4, but Pillsbury took on e5, and now queen takes c4, queen b6 played Lasker. Much more natural here is rook c8. Normal developing move. It looks like black is okay here. Queen e4, queen c7, for example. Okay, what else? If queen b3, queen b6. So if black exchange queens, so they cannot worry because black has no time to utilize bad pawn structure. Bishop b4 is coming. If bishop b5, for example, black can just take and play bishop b4 check or even rook c2. So hello, hello, hello. Hello, is it everything okay with voice and picture? Stream is okay, so okay, here. After bishop c5, black is ready for castle and they have quite safe position. After castle, okay, castle is possible, even king e7 is possible to prepare a6. Of course, not a6 immediately because knight d6. So rook c8, I like these moves, but Lasker played queen b6. It's quite risky try. So he wants to take on b2, but of course it's a dangerous strategy. So even even rook takes d7 probably now could be considered like alternative. The question how strong it is. It's not obvious. But for example, if rook c8, rook d1 check, if bishop d6, queen d3. Maybe this is strong. Maybe not. It require very concrete calculation. Probably rook takes c3 is the best for black and king c8. Yes, rook c3. Probably it's not enough for white, but necessary to consider it. So rook c8 probably it's good for black. But also white can start with queen d3 check now, because king c7, rook b1, it's forbidden. And if bishop d6, knight e4, or knight b5, it's already unpleasant. But king e7 probably. But king e7 probably it's enough. It's spicy position, but if knight e4, rook d8, okay, knight e4 looks like logical. Queen d6 is threat. If rook d8, queen c4 is coming, so still dangerous for black somehow. Probably with precise defense they can defend this, but so rook takes d7 was quite tricky line. Probably it's possible. Okay, but of course it's risky for white as well, because black will defend. Black has material advantage, but not so easy to defend. So rook takes d7 was interesting. Добрий вечір. Тримаємося. So castle played Pillsbury more solid. Now rook c8. Queen d3, rook c7. Black is defending. And now playing knight e4, bishop e7. So now black is prepared for castle. So white need to do something. Pillsbury find very interesting way. Knight c4. Because if f4, rook c3, it's unpleasant. White cannot avoid exchange of queens or even loss of piece. F4, rook c3. So knight c4, queen b5, f4. Very logical. White wants to open f line, and now Lasker took on f4. It's extremely dangerous, probably just a bad move. So looks like e4 is correct idea, and now black has contraplay. And important that f line is closed. So if queen takes e4, bishop c6, and then rook g8 is coming, black has contraplay against g2 pawn. So if queen d4, f6, maybe rook g8 is possible as well, but rook g8, rook f2, and somewhere white wants to play knight e5. After rook g8, maybe knight e5 immediately is possible as well. After queen takes, rook f2, and then knight takes d7. It looks like pretty unpleasant. So because of this f6, now knight e5. It's possible, but I don't know. Is this king f7 probably, or king g7? It's not obvious where king is better. If king g7, queen takes e4 probably. This idea to attack. If queen c4, queen f3, something like this. Or maybe knight takes f6 is possible. Bishop takes f6, rook d7 check. Also king h6, so it doesn't work. King h6 simply, and white has nothing. So queen f3, This idea queen g4 check. d8. White has problem with his knight, so it's quite complicated variation. This. So e4 anyway was correct move for black, but Lasker took on f4, queen d4. Now, time for concrete threats. So rook g8 is not possible because after queen takes f4, black is just losing. Rook is hanging and also pawn f7 is hanging. So f6 is only move. Queen takes f4, and now rook is hanging, and white is ready to queen h6. So, situation very dangerous for black. So queen c5 played Lasker. If rook c5, knight e5 is winning, it's obvious. So queen c5, knight e5, bishop e8, and knight g4. So many moves with knight. f5 is only move, but now attack is continuing. Very nice. Bishop c4. Black cannot take bishop because knight e5, so rook c6. Only move to defend e6. Now rook f1. So black is losing queen. Two rooks in this position is not enough compensation for the queen because black cannot protect his king. So excellent victory by Harry Nelson Pillsbury. So looks like e takes f4 was already the decisive mistake. At least I don't see how black could improve his defense later. Maybe it was impossible, right? Maybe a computer can find possibilities, but for human reason, looks like already hopeless because white has too many threats. So e takes f4 was a huge mistake. But okay, in general, as I explained, that Lasker played very risky. So he started his extremely risky strategy with queen b6. So after rook c8, position of black is much more solid, and white has no such a strong attack. So if queen b3, queen b6, if queen e4, okay, queen c7. Black is ready for bishop c6. So bishop b5 is possible, but after takes, check, and bishop b4, it looks like drawish. So castle, bishop takes c3, b takes c3, or just queen takes b7. Because after b takes c3, black can even consider b6, but okay. I'm not sure if b6 is strong because white has idea queen h4, queen f6. Okay, maybe castle. Okay, but now white has some practical chances because black king is quite weak, so probably I will try to find something more solid for black here. Maybe it's not so easy, however, but I'm curious. I don't know if it's solid or not. Maybe it isn't. I mean, if queen takes e8, rook g8, if queen e5, rook g8. Maybe it's just bad for black, but I'm not sure because if knight d5, queen a5 check. So If bishop b5, I want to take somewhere on g2. So, for example, bishop b5, bishop takes b5, knight takes b5, rook takes g2. And I'm not allow castle for white, and so queen b6. Creative idea. But maybe it doesn't work because rook takes d7, I don't know. If king takes d7, bishop b5 check, I cannot play king e7 because knight d5, so king d8 and castle now. Probably this is bad for black, although even here it's not totally clear for me. Bishop d6 looks like only move. If rook d1, king c7, if queen f6 check, king c7, if queen takes, king b8. What is this? A little bit similar to game between Carlsen and Abusador in last vacancy. I don't know. Instead of rook takes d7, what you want to propose? No, rook takes d7 is the most logical. Okay, so queen e4. Okay, queen c7, bishop b5. Looks like this is knight d5. Knight d5, queen a5. I explained it that black should be fine in my opinion. So king e2, well, it's very difficult to believe. King e2, for example, bishop b5 check, king f3, bishop c6. Maybe although position is so sharp, everything is possible. Bishop b5, king f3, bishop c6, e4. So maybe even this is possible. Okay, so the simplest is queen e4. So queen e4, queen c7 looks like the simplest. Sorry, queen b6, queen e5. What about queen takes b2, however? Is it possible or not? Takes queen d4, probably. Doesn't work because bishop is hanging and rook takes e3, f takes e3 and rook d2. But what is this? What is this? Because if this bishop b4 check, rook d2, queen c1 check, and then I will take on d2. For example, here I'm just taking, and white cannot take on d2 because bishop b5 check. So, but probably queen takes, bishop b4, rook d2. And difference that white has e3 square for his king. So, for example, in this variation. But black, if bishop b5, rook d3. If this, white can take, and important that there is no pawn on e3, so white can play this, and they are winning. If bishop b5, rook d3. Okay, so queen c7 looks like the simplest. No, so this. But maybe now instead of queen a5, queen c6 to play. So exchange of queens is good for black. Oh, I mean safe for black, so black will not lost. Queen e1, rook f3, king f3, so it wasn't made in that line. Just a moment. Okay, so uh, rook c8, queen e4. Uh, so this. Ah, queen takes. Okay, queen takes c3. Probably not enough. So probably black has some compensation, but it doesn't look like totally enough. Bishop e2. If bishop a4, rook b1. So rook d2. So it's not mate because queen e1 is not mate because king f3. But okay, so queen c7, yes, it's my proposition. If bishop b5, just take and queen c6. If queen takes e5, rook g8, or maybe even check firstly. Okay, rook g8 looks like solid enough, and black has good contraplay. So g2 is hanging, also bishop b4 check somewhere. For example, if knight d4, just take probably. Queen b5 check, king e7. Okay, but still tricky position somehow. King e2. What's this? Rook g1 is threat now from white side, but queen. But okay, my five cast. Surely white has some practical chances because black king is quite weak. Doesn't I know that queen takes e5, rook g8, but rook c. Ah, but I have another idea. This after knight takes b5, black probably has queen c4. Ah, bishop b4 immediately. Yes, and now white is forced to exchange queens, which means and white has no chances to win the game. So I'm still thinking that rook c8 was the best. Okay, queen b3, queen b6, so it's okay. Queen d3, bishop c6. So queen e4 is only aggressive try, but queen c7, and if bishop b5 takes queen c4. So if something else, okay, if something else, even f5 is possible to consider. For example, after bishop d3. After bishop e2, okay, rook g8 possible. Or bishop c6. It doesn't look like dangerous for black at all. So rook c8 was, in my opinion, good idea. Also, I want to show you this line. Is it everything okay? Everybody can hear me and see me? Donation stream. Okay, my sympathies for Turkish people. It's terrible news. Thank you. I want to show you another interesting line. I mean, in Tarrasch defense, so it's important to know. Maybe not everybody knows, but there is line this. Just a moment. Okay, c takes d5 main move, and now black has choice to take on d5 or to take on d4 gambit Sharageniga, but I wanted to show this line. Now, of course, black can play knight c6 or knight f6, this main theoretical lines, but if c takes d4, knight takes d4, e5. It's quite tricky line. So I already show it that with knight f6, bishop g5, now e5 is very strong. Here, without knight f6, bishop g5, e5 is possible, not such strong like with knight f6, bishop g5, but also possible. And now, if not knight db5, d4 is coming with quite a good position. Example, knight f6, bishop g5, bishop e6, something like this. If knight db5, a6, quite interesting line. So queen a4 is only possibility, bishop d7, c takes d5, knight f6. And now if bishop g5, it will be line which I demonstrated. Bishop takes b5, knight takes b5, a takes b5, and bishop b4. So with d6, black has excellent idea to take, and b4, and bishop takes d6. And according to Alexei Bezgodov, it's difficult to look at white position without tears. So it's so sad, according to him, for white. And I can agree that black has very strong initiative here. But interesting that in this position there is forcing way for draw. So if white wants, they can force draw in this position. So e4. e3, it's possible, but if e3, queen b6 with threat rook a7. So now, if for example this rook a7, black wins a piece. So d6 is correct, but this idea to prepare knight c7. But after this queen h4, it's approximately equal position. But e4, it's draw. Bishop c5, the best. Now queen b6 is not possible because bishop e3 is coming. And after bishop c5 just takes queen a3, white has healthy pawn up. But bishop c5 is correct, and now bishop e3, bishop takes e3. If just take castle is unpleasant. So knight d6 check, king f8, only move. King e7 is losing. Queen a3, queen b4 is bad because queen b6. So queen a3 is correct. And now only move for black, bishop h6. Idea to protect pawn on g7, and because of knight takes b7, queen e7, so white has nothing better than perpetual check. This. Draw. So for today it's enough. I hope you enjoy it. So please support my channel if it's possible for you. And good night.